Dear students, I am Sanju Hazri, Assistant Professor of English at Government College Ratangad. Today I am going to explain Edmund Spenser's poem One Day I Wrote Her Name. This poem is included in BA Part First, Paper First by Maharaja Ganga Singh University, Bikaner. So this is our first stanza. One day I wrote her name upon the strand, but came the waves and washed it away. Again I wrote it with the second hand, but came the tide and made my pens his prey. So, the poem has been lifted from Spenser's famous collections of sonnets, Amority. The poet deals with the theme of love and immortality in the poem. In this stanza, poet makes an effort to write his beloved's name on the sand of the seesaw and thus expresses his love, but sea waves wash away the name written on the sand. So one day, what is poet is saying? One day I wrote her name. One day I wrote her name upon the strand. Strand means seesaw, the sandy part of the beach. So one day I wrote her name. One day the poet wrote the name of his beloved upon the seesaw. But came the waves. But waves came and washed it away and swept the name written on the sand. Again I wrote it with second hand and I wrote her name again with the second hand. Means the poet used his hand again or second effort, but came the tide. But tide came again and made my pens his prey. So writing of his beloved's name in the sand is hard work, and this painful work becomes prey of the waves. That is, the work of writing becomes vain owing to waves. So the poem begins by setting the scene. It is very beautiful scene. The speaker of the poem or the poet is sitting at the sea beach or the sandy part of the beach with his beloved. The poet decides to get all romantic and express his love to his beloved. He writes her name in the sand, but then the waves wash away her name. The poet is pretty energetic and not at all disappointed. He writes his girlfriend's name in the sand again. In the words of the poem, with the second hand, that is, he makes another effort to write her name, but this time also another tide comes and washes away her name and thus makes the poet's work vain. The tide or wave makes the beloved's name its prey. The beach is just downright cruel. So, what is the conclusion of this stanza? The speaker makes a metaphor. He refers to his writing as the prey of the waves. He basically imagines that the waves are like a mean of predator just waiting to pounce on his poor defenseless writing. The situation is little dramatic. Rhyme scheme of this stanza is AB AB, where the word is trained with hand and way with prey. The poem has 10 syllable lines which should put as an iambic pentameter alert. These lines are actually written in perfect iambic pentameter. So I think you understood it. And now next stanza. Vain man, said she, that dost in vain essay, a mortal thing so to immortalize, for I myself shall like to this decay, and eke my name be wiped out likewise. And now what his beloved is saying? His beloved is saying, vain man, said she. His beloved said, vain man. Vain means haughty, arrogant person. That dost means does. In vain essay, useless, futile, worthless. Essay means, so first of all, vain means, vain has been used twice with different meaning. First vain means arrogant and second vain means worthless. Essay, attempt. So it was vain attempt. A mortal thing so to immortalize. He is trying to immortalize the mortal thing. Mortals means something which dies ultimately, and immortalize means the act of making immortal forever. For I myself shall like to this decay. Deterioration. She is the prey of deterioration. She will decay, and eke my name be wiped out likewise. And in the same manner, eke means also my name be wiped out. Wiped out means will be destroyed or swept away. Likewise, comparison with the act of waves. So, the beloved says to the poet that he is full of vain, means that he is arrogant and haughty in his act of writing her name. He is doing or making a worthless attempt of writing her name on sand. He is trying to preserve or immortalize a mortal thing. In vain, it is a silly act. She is telling him that his gesture will never work, that he is being proud in thinking that his writing is more powerful than the forces of nature. He is trying in vain or uselessly to make her name immortal when in fact it is mortal. Further, she says that she too will decay and disappear one day from this world, just as her name has disappeared from the sand of the beach. She too will be wiped out from this world. Then, how her name can be preserved on the sand? Here we see that beloved is conscious of the bitter reality of the world. She knows that everything is mortal in this world. The poet's lady friend seems morbid here, or she is just telling the truth that one day we all will be wiped out by death. So, summarizing this stanza, the beloved thinks that the speaker is being a little silly by continuously writing her name in the sand, and she recognizes that, like her name, she won't live forever. So, conclusion of this stanza is, it is not too often that dialogue shows up in a sonnet, as sonnets are pretty short poems, but we find it pretty snazzy that Spenser include some speech in the sonnet. The poet's beloved is using the word vain twice in one line. She knows this word has multiple meaning and she is drawing on both of. And we have got enough of the poem that we can see the rhyming pattern appear AB, AB, BC, BC. And this pattern will continue throughout the poem. This rhyme scheme is what makes the Spenser sonnet. It was Spenser's innovation to the form of sonnet. So I think you understood this stanza. And now next stanza. Not so, quod I, let baser things devise to die in dust, but you shall live by fame. My verse your virtues, rare shall eternize, and in the heavens write your glorious name. Now, poet is replying to his beloved, not so. It is not so. Whatever you are saying is not right. Not so, quod I, means said. Poet is saying that I said to my beloved, not so. Let baser things devise. Baser means lower, less important, crude things to die in dust. Die in dust, destroy or die normally, to become dust after death. But you shall live by my fame. But you shall live by fame. You shall live by fame means live forever. My verse, how you will be live forever? My verse, your virtues rare shall eternize. My verse, my poetry, your virtues means good qualities, shall eternize, shall immortalize, shall make immortal. Your virtues will make you eternize in my poems. And in the heavens write your glorious name. And in the heavens, godly state, heaven, godly state, your glorious name. With the power of poetry, her name will be immortal with glory. So here the dialogue shifts from the beloved to the poet himself. He tells his girlfriend that baser things, lower things devised to die in dust, that is, things that are lower, less important or cruder than his beloved, will die and become dust. But he says to beloved, you shall live by fame. So how will the poet's beloved live forever? How she will live forever? Through his poetry, of course. The writing in the sand was just child's play. Poetry does all the heavy lifting involved in making someone eternal. The speaker says that his verse will eternize all of his beloved's virtues and that it will write her name in the heavens, not in the sand. His poetry will be so awesome that it will make her immortal basically. In other words, the speaker says that death is for suckers and his beloved is most definitely not a sucker. So conclusion of this stanza is most of alliterations are used and mostly in D words, devise, die, dust. It all sounds very harsh, but the speaker eases up on these tough sounds when he addresses his girl at the end of the line. Note the soft alliterative V's in the verse and virtues. They seem almost sweet compared to the hard D's in the dust and die. The poem is written in iambic pentameter and in Spensian sonnet form. So I think you understood this stanza. And now, next stanza and last stanza of this poem. Where, when as death shall all the world subdue, our love shall live and later life renew. Where, when as death shall all the world subdue. Subdue means control. Okay, so death can control all the world, take into subordination. Our love shall live. Our love shall live. Our love shall be immortal and eternal. And later life renew. And later life after death or life in heavenly empire, renew means revive or to make new again. So the poet emphasizes his firm belief that even after death, the poet and his beloved, will remain forever. Their love will be immortal. He says that will win over the whole world. That is, death will kill everyone in the whole wide world. But that their love shall live and later life renew. Everyone in this world will die, but their love will go on forever because of his poetry. Throughout the lines of poetry, their life, even after death in the empire of God, will be renewed. Thus, the poet makes big claims of providing immortality to his beloved's name. So, in this final stanza, we have alliteration of W words in where, when, as, and world, and alliteration of L words with love, live, later, and life. So, I think you understood this poem and you will enjoy this video. Thanks for watching this video.